Hey, can you hear us, Sandy?
I can hear you now. You went out for a while.
Yep, I had to go to my computer and set it to record, sorry.
Okay.
So we are recording so that we can post this at some point in time. Hi, Jane. Hi. You pick spot, any spot. Everybody should have gotten on the email, the July council agenda, which I thankfully stole from Mike. Thank you.
Hello.
Any adjustments to the agenda that I stole from Mike? Hearing none, I will call the meeting agenda approved for this evening. Did anybody have a chance to look at the June 23 council meeting minutes? That's okay. All right. Any adjustments to the council minutes?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. Sandy, treasurer's report.
Month, we sold one address sign for $27 and we paid the annual post office box fee for $114. So we started out with $1,999.64 and ended up with $1,912.64. And that was the extent of activities, and the year-end finances have been done and turned in.
Thank you. Any questions for Sandy on the treasurer's report? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. Treasurer's report's approved. So Jeff Whitlock is coming back from a fire and he hopes to be here soon.
Yes.
Thank you. So we'll move on. We'll bypass item 5 until he arrives for a presentation on the migration from Code Red to Rave. So moving to the chair and vice chair reports.
The only thing I'm trying to summarize all the timesheets for Lester for the South County quarterly report that's going to be due at the end of this week. So I'm taking all the time we did for the county fair, or what's it called that? Delaware County Fair and all the other things, and submitting that as part of the report. That's pretty much it for now.
Perfect. And timesheets are coming in from folks.
Most people, Mike said he's gonna double dip and keep leaving it on his computer, so he's gonna bring it next month. But between yours and Ken's and John's and my own, I think there's considerable month there. But
and I know that Jane gave you first last meeting.
Right.
No, I didn't. You gave me most of these before.
Yeah.
Before, yeah.
I have a stack of about 10 of them right now, so they're coming in.
So the just a reminder that the Firewise renewal comes up in October. So we will need, if everybody could get their timesheets in sooner rather than later, so Mike has time to massage that and get us a report by the end of September. So we have time to prepare it and submit it with the October report. That would be great. We are still considering doing an event, and we can talk about that a little bit later on Outingdale. So I will defer to them, and we will move on. Item 7, because we were having a presentation tonight, we have deferred all of our partner reports until next month. If there's something important to report, we can do that during the public comment period. But we really need time for our presentation, which Officer Cruz might have to do. Yeah. Perfect. So we'll move on to unfinished business. The South County grant update. You have a lot of information to share.
Yeah, there's we're moving ahead. Our project manager, Steve Graydon, resigned. He was the one doing a lot of the GPS, the mapping, and the overall project management for the project. In his stead, Mark Egbert showed up at our meeting today. He's the director of RCD. He provided a wealth of information. He's going to step in until they hire 2. They're going to replace Steve with not 1 but 2 project managers, because there's just so many. They've got $42 million worth of projects. It's, I think, maybe part of the reason why Steve resigned. is just too much going on. Between Poole and Georgetown Divide, what we're doing in South County, it's a big area for just a few people to cover. But we're at the point now, where, when we were in discussion with Mark today, we were spending a lot of time on the ROE, the right of entries. And 2 weeks ago, I was sitting at 4 out of the shaded fuel break up to 12. Now we're at 10 out of 12 with a good lead on one of the two. So Mark's position was that we don't have to be 75 or 80% with the ROEs in, because a lot of times what happens, human behavior, people ignore it until they start seeing their neighbors' properties being cleaned up. And then they say, oh, I want that happen on my property. And then they come in. Right now, the only thing holding us up is the finalization of the CEQA report, California Environmental Quality Assessment, as well as some biological reports. And then essentially Mark has said that he would bring in, he's already brought in an additional field tech to help work on the project. Because it's, again, just so much to do. Then the other part is we're gonna that's what it was. He wants to engage a contractor. And that contractor would be given, a project and said, here's the project. The biological people will have been in there, the secret report will be in there, the foresters will go in and mark the trees and everything to be removed. And essentially that the contractors will have to abide by, heat index days and hot days where they can't use their equipment because of the heat that we've been suffering from. But they will get to go pretty soon so that we can begin the project, because even though it's a 2-3 year project, there's a lot to do, acres and acres and miles of road. So we have to start it. There's an urgency to start it now. So that was the gist of today's meeting. We're doing our quarterly report, which we have to do for the grant itself, which Lester pulls together. I'm providing the information of that. Elizabeth Screven did a very nice write-up in the Placido Wine Growers report that she got 3 very good leads out of for people that want to participate in the project. So we're trying to get the message out in any which way we can. I did a report. I did a community outreach meeting for the Outingdale community on July 2nd. That was well attended and well received. Kind of lit a fire under people to spread the word amongst the neighbors. There was a little bit of confusion because the South County project is an ongoing project that involves Outingdale, Omo, Upper Fairplay, Oak Hill, Diamond Springs, Sandridge. But then also there's a county project that's being driven by the El Dorado County for 5 communities, it's 5, right? That are one way in, one way out, like Paradise was. Outingdale happens to be one of them. So they're going to get a lot of focus in the next 6 to 8 months. The El Dorado Hills Fire Department was contracted to do the evaluations. So we did a field trip with them 2-3 weeks ago with Janet Ken and the fire chiefs over at Pioneer Fire Station to acquaint them with the community, acquaint them with the characteristics of the community and the challenges given the age of a lot of those homes and the very poor nature of the road signs and the roads themselves. So it's going to be a big challenge, but they've got a team of very highly trained people that are going to show up with their uniforms on, with or without neighbors, to actually go and do these evaluations on those properties. So try to get them to a point where at least the fuel load is down and the roads can be improved and they can be more safe. I took it upon myself to be an ambassador for the shaded fuel breaks. And again, we went from 3 out of 12 to 10 out of 12. And that's a huge piece, because if we get the other 2 parcels, that'll do a lot of benefit for the village of Outingdale, because it's pretty much where the fire would come from, which is where it came from, the Sandridge. So it's moving, and it's going well so far.
Addressing all of the broken down roofs.
Yeah, they will. And the RVs that I saw back to back against the house, yeah. Those are very dangerous.
Yes.
Christie, but
What's that?
Who's going to be addressed?
The evaluators from Colorado.
No, they're only going to be doing vegetation.
Oh, they
They're
are?
only going to be doing vegetation for the defensible
Ah.
sites. So there's not going to be anything in the defensible space inspections that are going to address hazardous materials around the home. So,
I think there's a law, well, a certain amount of property must have a certain amount of.
Well, actually, I think Ken at the last, when we did the on-site evaluation, said that this particular evaluation is not a punitive one. It's
No.
it's an educational one. And that, you know, if they do see, you know, it's kind of like the line of sight doctrine. If they see things that are a problem, they may mention it, but it could be a code enforcement thing down the line for the greater good of the community. And something that either I don't know, the chief would initiate that or the fire department, but it would become a county issue at that point.
So it's a code enforcement issue, the vehicles and hazardous materials around the home. So one of the discussions that we had is how we bring folks in together and do it all at once, but not have it as a punitive upfront. So there's going to be some discussion about whether during our portion of this event and moving on to 8B, the Outingdale defensible space effort, we as a fire safe council want to help Outingdale get to the status that they need to be in before the defensible space inspections occur next March. And so we have applied for and received approval for some Title III money to hold one Green Waste Day, which we intend to focus on the Outingdale area. Not that we would turn away anybody who brought material to it, but we want to focus on that. And we also want to provide the community with resources that the El Dorado County Fire Safety Council has for chipping and defensible space evaluations, as well as our own defensible space evaluations. We have 4 trained defensible space evaluators.
3 of them right here.
And we want to make sure that we utilize the resources of these folks who have gone through a 2-day training course to go into this community and help folks identify for folks what they need to do before these defensible space inspections happen next March. And what then as a fire safety council, what can we do to marry up with the community through their community organization and hold an event where we would bring in the Green Waste Day and hold a chipping day at the same time, a community chipping day through the El Dorado County Fire Safety Council and bring all those resources to bear for everybody who's willing to participate. And that needs to happen this fall. We need to start having those conversations probably pretty soon to hook up with the community effort achieve.
One of the challenges that I described to the team on July 2nd is that we had the Forester out there for on-site evaluations last fall. And because of the way Outingdale is structured, there's a lot of homes that are very close to the street. And the roadside maintenance will go from the edge of the street in 50 feet. Some of the houses are actually within that zone. But I said to them, don't despair, we're going to do the green waste. But furthermore, the chipping program exists, it's well funded. Hazard tree removal is well funded. And the elderly, veterans, and other things are ongoing. So even if their property isn't part of the right of entry process where we'll go on their property and take care of it, there's still a lot of resources that they can take advantage of.
As the property or defense space evaluator, maybe and I went up and down, knocking on doors, doing as many as face to face. After the Caldor fire, and most of the people, even though it was a mandatory evacuation, most of the people were evacuated. It's just common sense. And everybody was scared to lose our house. The thing that blew my mind more than anything is even having gone to quite a number of houses, and you're talking about defensive space, the risk of fire, that we have is so close. I think anybody's worried.
They what?
hardly anybody has even picked up a really good.
Well, this is when we did the onsite, especially with all the fire chiefs. One noted, and I won't say who it was, he said it's almost like people having been through it once think it won't hit again, lightning won't strike twice, and he actually made the comment. It's almost like we need a Sandridge fire too, to wake people up. It's a sad thing to say.
Yeah.
But there's a house that's right on the left as you go in. It's a two-story white burned out house that burned over 2 years ago.
Oh, longer than that.
Yeah, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Why is it still there? They probably didn't have insurance. They didn't have any money to take it down, but it remains as a fire.
I know it's been turned into the county multiple times as a hazard. Because we now have a lot of kids in the neighborhood, and I know when I was a young kid, that would be a prime place to hang out and play and away from your parents, and it's a hazard.
Yeah,
And yet, I don't know what can be done about it.
So one of the things that we want to do is, it's a multi reach out and touch conversation with the community, right? So we want to come out as the Fire Safe Council, and Mike already did one talk. We want to come out and do a focused talk on the defensible space evaluations that are coming. Then we want to come into the community and help sign people up for chipping and defensible space work. Have the chipping day there. Have John come and make address signs there. We'll be in, we want to come into the community, be there and catch people, sign them up on the spot, whatever it takes to do that, to get folks. Then the fire department, El Dorado County Fire, 45 days before they come and do the inspection, they're also going to send out a notice to everybody in the community that they're coming. And so it's going to be this, told you we're coming, we told you we're coming, told you we're coming, now we're coming, and then they're coming.
it's kind of a drumbeat approach. They call it a drumbeat approach. Just keep coming. Right? Drum roll.
So,
But we even scoped out where they would put signs saying when the evaluation is going to happen, where on Mount Elkhorn. We actually suggested doing 2 signs, one on Mount Elkhorn because it's very heavily traveled.
Yeah.
Get the word out. And then also about 100 yards up on the right, there's a nice big space where they could put a sign. Visible.
And the
to all
mailbox.
directions. What's that?
And the mailbox.
Well, they want to do the whole road.
They want to do the whole road. We're gonna put these by the mailboxes for people to take.
Charlotte,
Mike, you were very clear about the 2 projects. I just need to know, is one of them all one out project, or is that all something else?
the 5 defensible space areas of emphasis this year, all our communities that are one way in, one way out.
But what is the actual, is there a name for that project?
CAL FIRE was required by statute to evaluate all neighborhoods over, and I think it was 150 homes, to determine whether they had two-way access. And they identified 37 communities in El Dorado County that met the structure density that were one way in and one way out. And they provided a report to the legislature, and the communities are identified on CAL FIRE's website. CAL FIRE's website. And so these communities, so the county has actually taken this information, and it is choosing to, because these are communities significantly at risk, they're all in the high fire hazard severity zone. They are all dense vegetation, highly at risk for fire, and they have chosen to select for this fiscal year's defensible space inspection effort, the 5 of these communities out of the area.
Okay, so that's the definition of what it is.
Yeah.
But is there a name?
No,
There's no name.
No.
So when you talk about it, it's one way. and one
they
way
are
out.
one way in, one way out communities.
And then the other one is shaded in.
So
Great
what
project.
Mike has been talking about is the South County grant. He has the shaded fuel break, and there is a roadside treatment to that, of which Outingdale is part of that, but
I
most of
understand.
the residents who won't qualify because their homes are too close to the road.
was very clear. I just didn't know. If there was.
Yeah, no,
You know, I had to spend, don't feel bad, Charlie, because I had to spend 10 minutes on that in the July 2nd thing. It kind of confused people. So, needless to say, they're both very focused on making Outingdale more safe. That's the net of it all.
We're gonna have a picnic, vegan picnic. First one, second county. So we can set up.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Would love that.
Now, here's the thing I would also say, it was pointed out, not by me, but by my compadre. Outingdale's very lucky to have been chosen. Because, you know, as part of the South County project that I'm part of, with the other 5 fire safe councils, Oak Hill very easily could have, you know, surpassed Outingdale. I personally have been down there as part of my fire safe defensible space thing, and it is scary. It's absolutely scary. There's absolutely, if there was a fire, you know, people, it would be worse than paradise. The roads are that bad. And there's what they call them, valleys. There's steep canyons on either side that would just be candles right into that community. I think one of the reasons that Outingdale was selected is the density of the homes, and the number of homes is 163. I don't think there's that many properties in Oak Hill.
Okay, they're just larger properties.
They probably do have larger properties, yeah, but suffice to say, I think that's why Janet said last meeting, this meeting, you know, Outingdale should really take advantage of these resources.
And we want to get in there and keep pushing and try and urge them to get into a defensible.
But the September thing would be great.
Space.
I mean, we should get one of the chiefs and a few other people up there with trucks and.
Well, and Ken Owens should. Because he's the fire marshal for the fire. And so if you let me know, I'll make sure it's the invite. All right, so that finishes our unfinished business. So we are going to circle back to item 5. Thank you, appreciate it. Please welcome Sheriff's Deputy Jeff Whitlock, who's going to share with us what's going on with the migration from Code Red to Ray and what all we need to do. And if you come this way, so I can get you on camera.
Keep going.
Turn this here.
Start doing.
This is my camera.
Oh, okay. Where do you want me to stand?
Back a little bit.
Right there.
Janet.
Right here?
I'm gonna sit.
I can stand over here out of
Janet.
Go over to the street. That's fine.
Okay. Somebody talk.
Sandy?
Yeah, those of us on Zoom cannot see. All we get is the
The
ED.
door.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't help you. That's
Change it.
what I got.
There should be a little camera button with a line through it.
No, I mean, if you're on camera, it's just like I'm describing.
Oh.
So go ahead.
There you go. Better?
Is that better, Sandy?
no, we just get the thumbnail. We don't get it. We don't get the big picture on the screen.
Oh, I know why. But if I take you off mute, unfortunately, if I take you off mute, there's gonna be a background noise, so I'm gonna just.
That's better.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
I'm technologically challenged, you see.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay,
Please.
so hi, everybody. Yeah. Thanks for having me again. How long has it been? Was I here last month? or a month?
Wonderful.
Okay, so 2 months ago, I was here last. Apologize for being late. Had all day training. Palisades, Tahoe. On my way back, I did a house fire to the burn out great mountains in Poland. So I'm hot, smelly.
But you're here.
and I'm here.
The most important thing is you're here.
Yeah. So my name's Deputy Whitlock. I work for the Sheriff's Office. Currently, I'm assigned to the OES office, which is Office of Emergency Services. A little bit about it, but real quick, who didn't see me pop up? So the Office of Emergency Services kind of is, we handle all the odd things that the Sheriff's Office has. So it's a little bit of the search and rescue stuff. For West Slope, I have 157 volunteers that are but we also handle like the LHMP and the EOP and things that a lot of people don't really think about. That side of the house with the emergency managers. So we're just finishing up the EOP that should be out, posted online sometime soon. The LHMP is due by April of next year. We're getting together, so people will put that together. We do a lot of the active violence training throughout the county offices. We'll do de-escalation trainings. Go to the office and Ford Road. You get a lot of people that can't be angry in the lobbies. The folks that sit behind the desk have to deal with that. So we have our hands kind of in a lot of different. Part of it, we're talking about fire, and you guys are doing the fire safety council meetings. Part of the fire side for us is evacuations. Like if you've ever been evacuated and you've got that call or that text message, it comes from either myself or one of the other deputies that I work with. And I feel bad, but I pushed the button on my house twice. So it happens, and we went to a new system we're going to talk about today, but let's talk about the new system real quick, which was, what do you guys know?
Code Red.
Code Red.
Code Red, right? Who signed up for Code Red? Okay. Have you guys signed up for it?
No.
Yes. Did you know you?
Low range.
Yeah.
I thought it did.
Yes, so if you were signed up under Code Red, your information automatically rolled over to the new system. The whole reason we went to the new system, during Caldor, we sent out tons and tons of evacuation warning, and then repop and all kinds of stuff. We, the company Code Red gave us a bill for like $100,000 because we went over our minutes. So we were looking for other ways to mitigate that. And Cal OES, the state came up with this alert system. Now we're just going for it. It's Eldorado County Emergency Alerts, but it's run by Ray and the engine. So for our county now, we don't get charged for rainfall.
Speed stamp.
No, it's just the name of the company that runs it. So, and any other counties that do have it, they name it something different. So ours just should be Eldorado County Emergency Alerts. And then you'll get the little rave tag down at the bottom. That's the common line. So if you sign up for Code Red, everything stays the same. You don't have to do anything. Your stuff already moved over. So no worries, right? If you haven't signed up, there's a couple ways that you can do it. If you're at a computer, you can go to ready.edso.org, and that'll take you straight to the web page where you can sign up, put in your information. Or I was looking through book here, and it has a rave page on it, and I started scanning all of these to find out what they all were and where they all take you. So if you scan the one right here, that's the phone. That will take you straight to the page where you just start putting in your information. Some of the other good stuff that's in here. So when we call you and there's an evacuation or a warning or anything, the number you're going to get is that 530-621-7595. So if you see that number come across your phone or something like it, that's the alert. And if you guys have any questions, or if you don't know how to do it, or you need help doing it, or whatever, anything Rave related, you can always call us at our office number, which is also listed as the 621-5895 number. And you'll get either myself or Deputy Bear, whatever. Most of the time, we can talk you through it if you're on a computer, and you just don't know where to go or what to do. If you don't have a computer, you can call us up and we'll input all the information, sit on the phone with you, and put all the information that you need.
You do it from the phone.
Yeah, it's, if your phone can get to a website, you can go to that website. Or if you scan it with your phone, it'll take you right there. It's fairly easy. There's nothing new that you have to do with it. It's just like the old system. It's just something new, and we're not getting charged like we were getting charged with program series. Other than that, our job in the OES is fire happens, we show up. If there's evacuations that need to happen, we'll usually get with whoever the person in charge is on the fire side. And they go, okay, the fire is right here, it's moving this direction, we need to evacuate this. They give us kind of a broad area to evacuate. We use our deputies that are on shift, we'll start everybody that way, and then as they're coming in, we'll start giving them roads as our primary way of notification. It's still working. So you may get the alert that, okay, you need to evacuate or need a warning in the area, but you're also going to get that deputy not coming before us. So that's still our primary method out here in the rural environment. And, for what we do, it still works for us, and we're still going to keep it. But you're also going to get alerts. You're going to get it on your phone as a text message. You're going to get it as a phone call, and you're going to get it on TV. Part of the issue, or one of the things that we're trying to figure out how to get better, because it is a rural county, we're trying to figure out how to reach out to all those families that maybe don't come to these meetings, or they don't get that information about Rave or anything like that. So this is great if you guys are going out and dropping these like in mailboxes and things like that. Perfect, because that's one way we can reach people that may not, be in that boat.
We're trying to saturate communities with it.
Yeah.
Put some at the post office, and then leave some here at the community center.
Yep.
We've been handing them out.
Yeah, we use the RAVE program to get people in our booth at the county fair. Have you heard of RAVE? And people don't know. Well, it's the new code red. And it, at least give us several minutes.
And it works, so it's more of a still an outreach progress. I think last time I looked, there was 276,000 people that were signed up in this county. Anybody know what the population is? About 191,000. So then you go, well, what's happening there? So there's multiple people in a household, there'd be 5 people in a household. So that's where you get the extra numbers, things like that, but there's still a percentage out there that we just haven't got. And we know we haven't got to, just have to figure out a way to get everybody on the same page. So everybody's on the same boat. What else?
So a couple of questions. There was a presentation at the El Dorado County Fire Safety Council this morning.
Yes.
So a couple of questions that were presented there were under code red, because we were charged by the minute or had a minute cap. There were no tests to make sure that people were enrolled. People were concerned that, they've enrolled, but they never hear on it because you're not sending out an alert all the time. And would there be tests under the basis? Make sure that it's signups, people are signed up, you could
Sure.
have their phone
Yeah.
run off so they know that.
So when you sign up, yes, you can always call us and say, hey, I haven't heard anything. And you test my number, and we can send tests through the system. You just test yours individually. Yes, we could test countywide and do it that way. We're a little bit hesitant to use it for a lot of different things. Like, hey, there's a parade in Pleasant Valley, the road's gonna be blocked from this side to this side. Because we figure if we're sending out a lot of different messages about different things that don't have to do with evacuation, people will just stop on the fence.
Right, absolutely.
And they see that number, it's gonna be, oh.
Yeah.
So that's why we're a little bit hesitant to send out a lot of things like that, but yes, I mean, we can test it if you need us to test it. I know that
So
you know-
individuals can call and have it tested to a specific.
Yeah, you can call us, leave us a message, and all it takes is me putting in your phone number and scrolling down and hitting test on the phone and test on the email. And it'll see.
And then the second question that came up this morning was, I signed up here locally. I don't live in the county, or I've gone on vacation. And if it goes off, will it go off wherever I?
Yes. If you sign up here in the county and I think there's last time I looked, there was close to 40 different languages. If you speak another language, that's your first language. You can sign up for Rave and choose that language, all your messages will come across. So there is that, but if you go out of town and you're in wherever you are, and there's a fire here and you're part of that warning or order to evacuate, then you will still get the messages. There's some other programs out that thought about that, like if somebody's visiting Tahoe or vacationing in Tahoe. They don't live here, they're not signed up here, but they still get alerts. And there's certain other things that we can do to include them. Which would be like wireless emergency alerts, or which those have their own issues, because a lot of the wireless emergency alerts we can send out, but we don't have the option to geofence it. So I can't say just people in Tahoe. It goes out, hits cell phone towers, and yes, the people in Tahoe will get it, but half of Tahoe will get it. So,
Technology is wonderful.
yeah, we're we're learning the stuff, trial and error too. We did one in El Dorado Hills and half the Sacramento, our dispatcher just got blown up.
Yeah.
So we hear the backside of all that. So there are different ways to reach different people throughout the county, whether they live here or don't. Still get them to send out those messages. That's kind of what we talked about last time. If we want to expand a few minutes, we'll talk about what is a warning, what is a warning, and what is an order. What do those mean to you guys? Good thing. Okay, so yes, warnings are sent out ahead of time to let you know that something's happening and it's probably heading your way, or could not, but you're in that area that we're kind of worried about. So what we're telling people, if you get the warning, it's your time to start packing up stuff, get stuff ready. If you have go bags, car, and we're also telling people, if you leave during the warning and that order comes out an hour or two later, everybody else with the brush. You evacuate, you have tons of people all leaving at the same time, going the same directions. And traffic bottles.
I brought this to me a while back, but it would be. Huntingville never had an order for the Calvin fire. It, as the crow flies, in pretty darn close to where we were. We are a one-way in, one-way out community. Most of Avondale to the back.
Yeah.
The problem with the difference between a warning and an order is your insurance. You pay for your hotels for an order, and not for a warning. And being as if we are in an area that a lot of people live, because it's cheaper, so far out of town, it would have been better to have an order.
Correct. So when it
That.
comes to fires, since we do the evacuation, we have sole responsibility of actually giving warnings and orders. But we rely heavily on what fire tells us is going to happen, because that's their bread and butter. They know fire behavior, what it's going to do, and how it's going to work. So we rely heavily on them on, okay, here's a map, here's fire, show me what it's gonna do, so I can do what I need to do on my stuff. Yeah, and Allendale, I'm trying to think of the color fire, and the shape of it, it was, they had that claw thing that was hanging out.
I think
And
I
it
could
was on
localize
the
it like
lower
1.5
side,
miles.
right?
Yeah.
And yeah, coming up the canyon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, without looking at the map, if there was a warning order, there should have been some
There's a warning.
warnings.
But I think, I would hope, I can't say one way or the other, but I would hope now that CAL FIRE has done these evaluations of where these one way in and one way out communities are. That would be now be part of the information that they would use when they're determining where fire's gonna go and who should be given a little more time out. I would hope.
Yeah, so it truly is a partnership when it comes to big fires like that. There's a lot of people talking and moving and getting that right information, what needs to happen. And there's no rhyme or reason really when it comes to how those shapes are drawn on the map. We try to use roadways, rivers, geographic features to make it make sense, because it's also easier to describe. So when you get that warning, everything south of, and everything west of Fairfield. Geographically, if you make the boxes or polygons, like, understandable to people, and then describe them that same.
Are you using county GIS maps to develop that? So the one way in, one way out community maps is now a data layer. It might be something to consider. I don't know how that all works when you pull data layers.
So, once the EOC, so if there's a big fire, the county EOC will open up, and myself and the other people in OES take spots in the EOC and work those positions. But yes, we also call it county GIS, and it's really all of that stuff. And we usually have them sitting next to the planning G. So they will work together, and it's also getting map layers and polygons from, if there's an INT team,
Right.
from their IT over to our IT, and moving it on maps and getting the maps ready and posting them on, type websites, so you guys can see what the maps actually look like. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's very, I want to say time consuming, because it all happens really fast. But there's a lot of back and forth when it comes to fires, when back conditions.
Another thought that I just thought of is insurance will pay you back for after that. How much also will the insurance hold that against for possible property needs?
Yeah, and insurance and fire insurance, particularly in our county, is this not only this county, but it's another it's a big hot topic.
Statewide.
Yeah.
Statewide, because so many insurers have left the states
That's
now.
it's nightmare.
Well, State Farm left, AAA left. And I went farmers put a cap.
Farmers, one of my neighbors, well, Wendy.
They put a cap. So that means that you can imagine with two major insurers leaving, everybody's going to try to go to the second biggest one in the state, which is Farmers. State Farm's number one. We can't take everybody. Right, so they put a cap of 7,000 new policies per month. We have not reached that cap yet since April.
But you
So
said they dropped money.
Farmers dropped Wendy and Chuck and then there's one year.
the year element doesn't mean anything to these people. It's all people with green eye shades and risk assessment.
Right.
And I have State Farm and I've had it for 5 years. They came out and did an evaluation about 2.5 years ago. And
Well, that is a new policy with the insurance commissioner. They're now recognizing that the effect of fire safe councils, defensive space, home hardening. And the four homes that survived Grizzly were all home hardened. So there are bigger discounts coming to the people that have home hardened. Right now, I can give you 5% because we're part of the Firewise community, but it can go as much as 20%. If you've done all the work to be home hardened and defensive space. I'm surprised to hear about when there must have been something going on there. I don't know. Yeah, well,
But not to interrupt your presentation, but the whole conversation about Firewise communities is a big topic, not only with local communities, but with the county. Just because, and we are a prime example of that. We are a Firewise community. The entire Fire Safety Council is a Firewise community. Are we any safer than we were the day before we got it? Not really, because we need to get folks to actually act and do the things that they need to do to protect their homes, to do the defensible space. I mean, we have a lot of folks that have defensible space, but we have more that don't. Grizzly class was a Firewise and it burned down.
they were one of the first, actually.
Yeah. So it's what we do with our Firewise community designation. And insurance companies, now that they are going to give 5 to 20%, they're going to be out looking, because just because we're a Firewise community doesn't mean all the homes in our community are safe. And or should give that discount in their mind. So this thing with Outingdale that we're trying to do to help them meet their defensible space goals. I mean, we need to, it's just one step in all of the work plan that we need to do as a fire safety council to make our whole thing safe.
Yeah, I have a 7-year-old house with all the amenities of house hardening, all the amenities of the house hardened house. With sprinklers inside the house. I have no visible vegetation around my house. My insurance went up $1,000 last year. No claims.
So let's get back to the evacuation.
Figure that out.
But we all know our struggles with insurance, so.
So we were talking about alert warning, so that's your time to put stuff together, get it ready to go. If you want to leave during the warning, you can. Something saying you have to or not. But if we put out a warning, that's and it usually gets you out moving before the order comes and everybody starts. And so the order. So an evacuation order means what?
Yeah, that's worse.
Mandatory earlier. I mean, it is a mandatory order. You're supposed to get out of your house. Yeah, are we gonna make you leave? Because there's so many houses to get to and we're trying to hit every house. And keep in mind, when we send out warnings, you're gonna see a deputy at your door. When we send out orders, you're gonna send back. So then knock on the door again, the order. But for the most part, they're not gonna spend a lot of time there. They're paid. The evacuation orders in effect, you leave your house, I'm not leaving. Okay, how many people are in the house? 4. Okay. And you go follow the next steps. Why?
When the house comes down.
How many people will look for it later? Yeah, and that's, you know, the grim fact of it, but, you know, we have to have an idea of where we're going and how many people will look. And it wasn't like that in Paradise. You know, we were up there for weeks, sitting for the times. We gotta find it.
Paradise, it didn't have the time. That town burned down and passed. Around 45 minutes. 45 minutes, so they just didn't have time.
So those are the evacuation warning, evacuation order, and then once you've evacuated and you're somewhere else. If we evacuate you from your house, we are legally obligated to provide some sort of shelter. So that's why you see folks come out about the shelter here, shelter there, go here, go there. They don't get used to it. I mean, honestly, because most people have friends or family that are someone nearby and can stay with them. So usually this county, our shelter numbers are fairly low. 1,000 people. But HHSA, you know, the name of the office. There. But we have other county workers come in, and that's all they do. That's their goal in life is to provide shelter and everything that's needed. So you'll see shelters pop up if you have animals. Also another big one where getting animals out, how we get them out, where we take. So we have teams that are set up just to do the animal shelter stuff. There's the South County Arch Animal Rescue that comes out and helps with animals.
Is that the group out of Jackson?
They're kind of a mix. There's a lot down here, but it also includes the anymore. But they're all disaster service workers. They're under insurance when it comes to something like fire. So they're covered. They can go in, they can grab stuff. There's also the ag pass, which I think they just finished. Or it's real close to being finished, which basically, if you have animals and you want an ag pass to go take care of your animals, or if you want to go back into the fire area and move them, you can go through this program and get. So that's
Managing that program. That might be something we want to have a presentation of at some point.
What if you have crops?
it also.
Okay.
The legislation hasn't been out there for the whole state to actually make this or implement it, but it's fairly close or just passed. So all the different counties are coming up with their own individual ways of how to implement. As far as we know, it's really easy if you have something in place and it's permitted and you've been through all the classes and training on what to do in the fire areas. And you have that pass, you go up to the checkpoints. You know, all we have to do is teach passes. If you guys have ever tried to get through the checkpoints.
Last month's council minutes, there is a meeting workshop in September. What's that? For West Slope.
West Slope is having a workshop.
What is community workshop?
Do you remember, Charlotte?
Yes, it's pretty bad. I have.
And then after evacuation, if we get close to the repop, repopulation of those areas, we try to do it as systematically. There's a lot of things that get into it. Fire accessibility area, it's good. We don't have to worry about fire anymore. Utilities have to come in. Whoever has lines of power and come in and say it's all good. They can go back to this area. So there's a few different steps that you have to go through to actually get all the legend. So that's why it takes a little bit longer, and it's like the fire is out. Why can't I go back to the house? It's usually for one of those reasons. But we definitely want to get you back to your property as possible. And then again, we'll send out rave alerts, we'll send out messages, we'll put it out on Facebook, everything that we can think of. We'll let you guys know if you're in that area, it's safe to go back.
Sorry, you mentioned different passes.
What is ag passes?
Ag pass,
Ag.
basically for animals or crops. Who issues those? Who issues those? It'll be through, well, I have to figure it out for sure, but it's through the ag department that they're putting that program together. I'm not exactly sure what the process is in that yet.
You were allowed in every other day, because we have water tanks, and then we take their generator. Pump it and pull it back up. So that's not.
What area was that?
Right.
So they will look at certain things or things like that. We understand that. And there can be exceptions made once you go without your real estate and what you need to take care of. If we don't want to bitch. Plus the fires right there, we want to make sure the property is still safe. Not destroying things, so not gonna have it, but it's definitely a case by case basis, something like that. But you can always contact us at the office, however you want to contact the EOC and say, hey, this is my issue, or this is my, you know, my thing at my property that I need to take care of, and somebody will make it. Yeah, but once you get back, you know, the recovery process is probably a whole nother night to talk about recovery and what it all goes through with the different steps and all of this stuff. Has to go through and get those things for it. But as far as tonight, we just want to really get across that if you were over it, you've already rolled over, you don't have to worry about it. If you want to make sure, you can always call our office and say, hey, I just want to make sure my number and everything went over, that's fine. If we don't answer, we leave a message. Multiple people check it, maybe. If you have any questions, problems getting on there or logging in, just putting in, let us know.
Hey, what about disabled? What do you do?
So we have the option when we send those messages to you now with Brave that we didn't have with CodeRed. We have the option to tag in questions. So like, hey, here's your warning. It's from this to this to this. Give you the area of the warning. And then we can add in a question like, are you disabled or do you need help evacuating? Or we can put in questions and then put answers. So when you get that message, it pops up on your phone, you can scroll down and answer the question and we automatically.
Is there anything in your profile that you can identify?
There's comment boxes you can put in there. HHSA and the group that works with the EOC has a pretty good list of people in areas that they already know about. Or if it was an issue on any mosquito or found over and saw those issues. But we can tag questions. You know, if you have animals, you need help getting your animals out, you have mobility problems, you know, need a wheelchair, how are we gonna get you out? And then we'll figure it out. Get what we need to out there. A lot of times if it's a mobility thing or you're in a bed or a wheelchair, like that, we'll send ambulances out there just to keep you out of there. Once you get to a shelter or wherever you're going, figure out how to get up there. Wheelchair or whatever you need there.
Any other questions?
Very important.
Very good.
Thank you guys.
We really appreciate you being here and sharing this with us.
Yeah, just talk to people. We're out. All the big events, the fair, we're out there at the fair all weekend. And we've got little cards that we can. If you guys see us out and about, and you see the stack of cards, they can do the neighbors. Talk to them about it.
Volunteer with hospice and when there's fires, a lot of people that are on oxygen, just supply them with tubes. So that way we have to be cheap for them, but they're still.
Just say they will be provided.
Sounds like you have an army, but you know.
Yeah.
We don't, but yeah, we know those are all mandated. We can't put you in shelter. So if you have whatever medical problem.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
I'll go get a shower.
Hey, you're welcome to take one of those. If you, And Hugh, council from the El Dorado County Fire Safety Council put that together and made sure that everybody's information is.
That's, there's a lot of good info.
Super good. So at this point, item 9, public comment. Anything for the good of the order? All right, council comments. Jane or Sandy, or excuse me, Mary or Sandy, anything? Nope. All right,
I guess it was a spontaneous fire in El Dorado Hills from farm. Yeah.
a chipping pile spontaneous. What's the deal over from the heat? So,
Mike pulled over on East, called in the fire.
Yeah, with the bridge. One of the main, sure.
We left our house on Saturday to go up to Google. It's like 96 at our house, but we're gonna get up to this winery and cool with 110. It was like hitting a wall. Basically.
well, and so just remember, stay cool, stay hydrated. Shiley, you have anything?
Yes, this is what we're supposed to talk about.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The South County wine signage. Fundraiser that July 13th. With a, I think it's called Google Meet, 5:30 to 7 p.m. And they worked on a lot of the computer components of the fundraiser. And our next meeting is August 9th. So what, we typed up notes and there were a couple things, I took the notes, there were a couple things that were computer stuff that I had no idea. So I put in what I understood, and then someone else was revising it so that it actually didn't have meaning. But with that, it will, people are now able to have, we have a QR code for it to print. As soon as minutes go out, we will be able to, or sign, have a QR code, have all the logistical stuff. And then hopefully by next month, we will go back to each of the councils. And on the 9th of August, we will be mailing out to the appointments and working on compiling our packets. And we should be able to start from the end of August. However, there's something that each of the councils needs to do. And that is, so the paperwork part is complete. And now it needs to be, how is this going to be run? And each, we voted that we would divide the pie equally. And now it's really about what's going to be the base of this for each of the councils, who's going to be collecting money, who is going to help out. So I highly encourage each of the council members and also those sitting, all of us sitting in our chairs here or in the Zoom meeting to look at how they can contribute. I know that there are funds that each council gets. It's wonderful to have that, but it's also wonderful to have money for petty cash, money for signage that doesn't come, something that's kind of a flow throughout the year. The other very important thing that I see is that working with foreign fire safety council, it makes a difference when we know how each one of us is moving forward and what the purpose we're focused on. It's also wonderful to be able to support each other. So this is a fundraiser, but it's much more than that. It is a community. So that's why Pat and I have to go to all of those fire safety council. I think it's important that we may look at one fire affected all of us. So I really encourage you to look at how would you participate. You know, we're gonna be dividing up what wineries. We're setting maybe it's all of the South County area wineries. But if you know the winery, you know that you know people, then please volunteer to say, I'll do the interviews. And I think what money, we will have to figure out that within each house. Right? Other than that. I hope that we have some.
Ma'am, and I am going to, I have on my list to get you the access to the building. For the dating. Meeting. Any other comments? For the good of the order today? Dan, super good, yes, sir,
Public comment.
yes, sir.
We have something exciting to share.
Can you give your name?
I'm sorry, my name is Doug Stan, I'm a business owner here in Placerville, and I sat at my desk and I watched the Caldor fire go off like a atomic bomb from my desk. And the ash fell on my truck, and I started evacuating in town, right next to Home Depot. I started evacuating my office, so it got really real. Very, very real, very, very quick. And so I wanted to do something that could help, and I'm really excited that I found a product that I think is going to be a great option for our communities. And I want to bring it to my community. I launched a county fair a month ago, and it's exciting. It's the first all natural, non-hazmat, non-toxic fire suppressant in the world. EPA certified. It's the only product in the world EPA with certification. It's very special. Lots of patents, lots of testing, proven, powerful, effective, and it's available for the public now. So I wanted to bring that to my community and share that as an option for all the wildfire safety councils. You know, you can't promote specific
Right.
products, but at the same time, they come to you and say, hey, what do I do?
Right.
What's available? How can I help myself? And so it's a great tool to have in the toolbox. So it's a proactive spray, and so it works dry. It's the opposite of fighting a live fire with water. It fights it dry. So you put it on ahead of time and safely early evacuate, which is what you want to do. So then it's working while you're not there. And it's clear, it's not pink, it doesn't stain your house, it's not messy like false gels. It is totally clear, you can't see it, won't hurt pets, landscaping, birds, fish, agricultural crops, applicators, first responders. It's completely non-toxic, it's a great product. When I saw that, and I saw a team of retired fire chiefs, this guy being one that's joined us at Calvert Road, that are behind this product, because they checked, they vetted it, they tested it for years, and they believe in it. They believe it's game changing. That's what I got involved. I feel like it's something very special that's going to make a difference. So I have lots of other flyers, and if anybody also would like to take as many as they'd like, they also want to leave a card with an email address. I've organized all this information and all these color flyers to one email, so it's very convenient to share, and they're all PDF downloadable.
How long does it take to apply? They want to story out.
20 minutes. I can do it in 20 minutes.
It's like pressure washing.
Yeah, it's a great question. We recommend using backpack sprayers. So there's either a gas powered one and there's an electric one, which is much easier to use. It's quick and it atomizes the product. So you get way more for your money. We're not really soaking the house. We're misting or fogging things. So we trim and cut, clear every principal space. We want that 100%, no shortcuts. Home hardening, we are just a secondary backup behind those important things. So basically clear, cut, trim, clean everything you can, spray what's left. So the deck, the fence, shed, barn, maybe any landscaping that's far enough away, trees you don't want to lose, don't want to cut. And then, so you can get about 500 or 600 square feet per gallon. So out of a 5-gallon bucket, you can do at least 3,000 square feet. And with one of those backpack foggers, you can put it out fast.
Yeah.
impressively fast.
How long does it last?
All summer long until the first heavy winter of fall rain,
So it has to be heavy rains.
heavy rain. Yeah, it has some good cling to it, so it'll stick around during sprinkler hit or a little light. But yeah, so pretty exciting.
Question two factors. One, could you put it on preemptively, like, put it on in the beginning of summer, or should it put it on,
Shit.
or you know, a warning?
That's your choice. That's a great
The
question.
other thing about to doing it, when you have a warning, there's a strong possibility you may not have power. You're talking about an electric sprayer, that may not work. It's another power.
It's cordless. It's a
I
back.
thought I said one was an electric option.
I'm sorry, it's a battery powered, it's like a cordless drill. It's independent, no cord. Thanks for the clarification. I should have said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really fast, really easy,
So
and you
it's-
can really get it out
It's
there.
more effective to do it just before the fire. What's, does it lose efficacy by doing it early?
No, that's a great question. I'm not a wealthy person. I'm kind of cheapskate. And so first, I'll be honest. I mean, why waste it if there's no fire threat this year? So my thought is get the material, have your sprayer ready to go out with water in it, practice, know exactly what you do, have a plan. This is what I'm gonna do. And I live in town of Placerville, so it's a little less critical, but have a plan, know what you're gonna do. And then if the fire is threatening, go ahead and disperse the chemical before you evacuate. Yeah, if there's no fire threatening, you should leave it in the garage, use it, save them all.
Is it not? How long can you leave it in the garage?
Years, yeah. It doesn't settle, you don't have to agitate it, you don't have to
It's to the shelf life, so.
I don't,
There's no.
there is no
Shelf life.
shelf life, it doesn't
But
do
it's a
anything.
food grade product at some point, doesn't it?
That stays in the wall. It's made from corn carbohydrates and citrus. It's got 18 patents. It's amazing. What's the cost? It's $70 a gallon. So $3.50 for a 5-gallon bucket, a couple of those buckets in the whole house.
So I'll let everybody connect up after and pick up the information. Thank you. We really appreciate you coming and presenting that, because that's good information for folks. As Fire City Council, like we said this morning, we can't endorse a product, but we certainly accept presentations of products that are available.
I think that plays into what you said earlier about one way in, one way out. I think it's a great roadside spray application. You don't have to, go on someone's property and trim. People here love their trees. You can protect that roadway so it brings responders in fact these buildings. And it would take minutes to do a road.
But you can fog an entire evacuation route. And nothing flat.
It's like watering.
Completely different than hitting with bulldozers, and cutting trees down. A whole new ballgame. Pretty exciting. Well, different way to look at things. We're the only product in the world. They put their name on the receiver choice program. That's completely non-toxic. We're all new.
So
Yeah.
we'll let you follow up with questions after. Any other council comments? All right. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. And our next meeting is August 16th, right here in the cool air conditioned 9 o'clock. So we will see you then. Thank you all. Thank you guys online for hanging in. Appreciate it. Sandy and Mary. Have a good day.
And you want to go to the table today?
Yes, please, because I.
It's far as 6 hours. Right, together.
I'm sorry, did I answer your question?
Fine.
So you guys.